working with particular life models, each model has a different presence in a way, so that each sculpture has similarly a different presence, and it has a different life, a different feel, and a different character, and a different personality. If I'm working from life, from a model, I usually start with a series of drawings and take a lot of photographs and use video to get three-dimensional, get views all around the figure. So I get lots of different positions. Often from the drawings or from some of the photographs, I can see instantly a composition for a sculpture, okay? And I'm looking for particular characteristics. Every torso, for instance, has its own personality. Everybody's made uniquely, quite differently, so depending on how their body is put together, it gives me what I call a body personality. I started making three-dimensional drawings, very crude, very simple three-dimensional drawings, space frames, frameworks, and I found that I was making sculptures more and more mysterious, more transparent. I like the armatures that you use to build a sculpture because they were like 3D drawings. I like those much better than using clay and plaster. I came across steel mesh, and very quickly I discovered that you could model steel mesh. So all of the ideas that I was working with came together in a very economic and succinct way. Although the material is very difficult to use, it's a hard, machined, industrial material. Once you've got it past a certain stage, it had all of the sensitivity that you find in using clay, or in drawing, or even painting. Because I was doing a lot of photography and light projections onto actual people, it was a very easy step to move into projections onto the screen itself. And at that point, of course, I realised about the shadows and the shadow projections. So really, I was looking for something which deconstructs sculpture, something a bit more essential, something that has that sort of mystery that you find in drawing. And eventually I came across, by using different screens to hide lumps of rock and plaster and clay and bronze, to disguise that, make it more mysterious. And from that point onwards, I virtually stopped using other materials, because I realised that the potential and the material I was using was really the essence of what I was trying to get. What I'm actually doing is taking a very mundane flat industrial material and creating an enormous transformation into something which is quite flat and static. So in that sense, movement is the complete opposite of how I actually find the mesh in the first place. It's just a dead, flat, uneventful thing with a certain sort of machined integrity. And what I do is interrupt that regularity. And as soon as you interrupt that regularity, something starts to happen. In the same way, if you take a blank canvas, as soon as you put a mark on it, you've begun something which will become a series of events which will eventually result in a finished image or a painting or a drawing. Like drawing in 3 dimensions, every mark is fresh and vital, and nothing between my hand, no other processes, my hand and the idea. So that gives it its energy and its vitality. I use very simple tools. I don't use any moulds as such, but I stretch the material by pushing, and then you can change the shape. To keep the simplicity, to stay in tune with the simplicity of the material, I try not to do compositions which are too complicated. Hence I take a simple truncated figure like just the torso, or from the neck to the feet. And there I can concentrate on what I call the physical personality. So I start with drawings and photographs and video, and then I transpose that into a composition. First of all, I have to cut, almost like a tailor cuts for a suit or an article of clothing. I cut out a pattern, but I have to design this pattern according to the proportions, the unique proportions of the person. So I have to get their measurements in that sort of situation, and make a flat version. In a way, it's what you might call a transformation, a very simple transformation from a rectangle into an organic shape. So that simplicity is very much in tune with the simplicity of the material itself. You get these fantastic accidents, even with the shadows through the sculptures. You get these extraordinary things from something which is 93 million miles away, and it's playing with these creations on the wall in front of you. The sculptures themselves actually contain more than just physical information. There is also what you might call psychological feelings come through in this material, little nuances, because the body is not like just a dead static portrait. It actually has life. It feels as if there's a living being. And one of the reasons for that is that I work directly into the material. Again, like a drawing, when I get to the finished result, then it is fixed. So it becomes very solid and won't change shape, and it will last hundreds of years. So that's really basically the process. A lot of sculpture and a lot of images are often quite static. The sense of life which actually the sculptures end up containing comes from the fact that I'm working from life. I can actually evoke a sense of life in each piece individually.